Hey, it's Sam, and I'm here making this quick video for you to discuss the eclipse that's happening on May the 10th, early in the morning. Most of us here in the West will experience it on Thursday night, May 9th. This is a pretty powerful solar eclipse, and it's going to be very intense and long and very exact. It's happening with the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, the South Node, all at around 23 degrees, bunched up around 23 degrees of Aries. Now, we've all been feeling this sort of intense Aries energy for the last month or so with, explosions and, many kinds of, sort of powerful and personally challenging activities. And if not challenging in the negative way, just challenging like facing challenges in the positive. And it's also brought into contrast the duality and the split between the self and other. The self and the power and glory of the self, which is Aries, and others, which is Libra. So this choice, or this sort of contrast, has been very magnified the last month or so. So it's not only that we've had planets in Aries and Libra, but we've had exalted and powerful planets in Aries and Libra. So we have the exalted Sun and Mars, which are two really powerful planets when they're in Aries. And then we also have Saturn, which is exalted in Libra, which is also, again, making a lot of intense, energy with others. So we have a lot of capacity and desire to really concentrate our energy on other people and our relationships with others because of the Saturn, Rahu in Libra, and then a lot of individual needs and capacities and compulsions with Sun, Mars, the South Node, now Mercury, also in Aries. So this really, as I say, brings into contrast all of your relationships with others, but certainly the romantic relationships will be tested and challenged, clarifying yourself and your power and your need for individuality and your capacity and desire to assert that, and also your capacity and desire to compromise with others as that is unfolding. As your relationships are unfolding, we're always being challenged to surrender and try to please the other equal to ourselves, at the same time honor our own needs. So these are big themes right now, and again, it's not just in romantic relationships but in personal interactions, but it's also left a lot of opportunities for career gains, for exploring new things, that sort of entrepreneur spirit, that sort of explorer, adventurer kind of energy because of all the planets in Aries. Interesting dog over here. Waiting for him to come up and visit me. But so this eclipse, April 9th, in the evening, April 9th, and early morning, April 10th, is to bring that into contrast. And what happens with the eclipses is the Sun and Moon join these nodal points. And the nodes moved into the Aries-Libra axis in January, but it's just now in the eclipse cycles that we feel the power of the nodes and the energy of the nodes become active. Now, the feeling of the nodes and the sort of karma of the nodes really started, as I say, in January when they moved into the Libra-Aries axis. But then action around them and that axis and the need to really address that area of life becomes activated when we have the eclipse and when we have the eclipse cycles. So we started with the lunar eclipse a couple weeks ago. We're going to have another wide lunar eclipse. I think it's May 25th is the exact date. So on this solar eclipse, you can really feel, or you should be able to really feel and try to connect with that glory of the individuality, glory of your individuality, the glory of the self, the glory of your personal strength. not just what you can yield to another, not just what you can surrender in order to make other people happy, but your strength, your power, your individuality, and the need to express that. Now, one of the most interesting and fascinating things about this eclipse as well is that it's happening in the nakshatra, or the star of Bharani. Bharani is ruled by the god called Yama. Yama is often referred to as the god of death. It's not that he's the god of death in that he comes and kills you or takes away your life. It's Yama that shows up at the time of death. It's a difference that's worth noting. Not just at the time of death of our physical body. We think of death as, you know, the death of our body. Life and death are a constant continuum, a constant circle. At the death of things, Yama shows up. When things end, Yama comes and takes you to your result. It's very much related to karmic result. Just like at the end of the life, Yama shows up and takes you to heaven or hell or wherever you're going, so to speak, metaphorically. The same things can be said about, like, at the end of a relationship. Results happen. Karmas happen based on what you've done. So the energy of Bharani Nakshatra is the energy of consequences. Consequences, da-da, big concept. And the symbol of Bharani Nakshatra is the yoni, the female reproductive organ, but really the female reproductive tract, which includes, you know, the opening, which is the yoni, but then the, you know, the uterus and what creates the baby and the birth canal. And it's a metaphor for this process of giving birth to something based on how our will has created action and penetrated reality. So we penetrate reality through our will, and something is produced. A result is produced that's directly attributable to what we've put into it. However your will is penetrating reality, a result is being created. No mistakes. No mistakes with karma. It's absolutely communistic. Karma is neutral for everyone. There's no mistakes. Whatever you put out comes back. And this nakshatra of Bharani is very related to karma. The god Yama, which the word literally means restraint, it shows how karma has restrained you, how your karma frames your life. Karma, the best way to look at karma is that it's what is framing your existence right now. Your possibilities right now have been created by your past actions, based on your past understanding. That's what frames your life. Your future is going to be framed by the actions you take now, which is based on your level of consciousness and awareness, and the actions you take toward that. That's going to create your future circumstances. The most liberating way to understand karma is in the present. It's your present circumstances based on your past actions, which are based on your past level of understanding. Your future is going to be based on your current actions. And there's a guaranteed result from that, and it comes from the god Yama. There's going to be a result. So this is very heavy, not in a bad way heavy, but heavy like weighty. There's a lot of magnitude and power in this whole concept of the god Yama, the nakshatra Bharani as related to the reproductive tract. Best way to look at karma that I've found is look at it like gravity. It's a law of the universe, just like gravity is a law. It's not good when it keeps us on the ground and bad when it makes an airplane fall from the sky and kill everybody. Gravity is simply a neutral force that always operates according to laws that are unerringly correct. It always operates that way. Karma is the same way. There's no mistakes, there's no slop, there's no, oh, karma worked for them but didn't work for me. No. How your will penetrates reality comes back to you in the form of a result. Just like the female's reproductive tract produces a baby, produces something. Something gets produced. And that's the sacred feminine. That's the divine feminine in the Eastern sense. The masculine is the level of consciousness and action and will penetrating reality, and the feminine is what produces the result from that. So this interplay between masculine and feminine and individuality, which is Aries, and reflection, which is Libra, is in great contrast in this eclipse, as I already said, but it's even more so affirmed by this nakshatra of Bharani. And there's 5 planets there. Mercury, Mars, Sun, Moon, and Ketu are all there when we have the eclipse. Very powerful stuff. A great time for you to ponder the truth about how your will and your actions based on your will has penetrated reality and produced a result. Time to stop being a victim. Time to start understanding the law of karma as an empowering structure, there to support your growth and there to show you exactly who you are, what you know, and what you've done based on what you know. What you've done based on what you think is possible. What you think is possible is based on who you think you are, based on what you think you know. It's all, there's no slop in it. It's all there. And that's produced a result. Yama, the god who shows up at the end of an event, gives you the result based on your understanding and your action. So it's very deep stuff. The other thing to know about this eclipse time and this cycle in general is this Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus is very good for materiality. It's very good for money and affluence and wealth, and also bringing your teachings, because Jupiter and Venus are the 2 teachers, into a tangible, practical form. Jupiter has been in Taurus, the sign of practical forms, since last year, since the middle of last year. Now with Jupiter and Venus both in Taurus, it's a great time to really beautify that, nurture that, and take it to an even higher level of connection and beauty. So really, Jupiter is the planet of guru, of teacher, and how your teachers and teachings can bring enormous beauty and joy and peace in your life is also a very deep seed principle of this eclipse that we can take forward through the next several months, because the nakshatra Bharani is ruled by Venus. So it has that quality of creativity, and it's really creativity through that kind of sexuality, like sacred, divine sexuality. In the highest sense. It's not just, bodies having sex, but sexuality, sexual energy is the creative force. Obviously that creates bodies, but that creates everything. It's the same energy. It can be transmuted into higher dimensions in the form of art or music, or all creative energy is really sexual energy, either at the base level or at a higher spiritual, metaphysical dimension. Venus, Jupiter together brings a lot of metaphysical promise, a lot of metaphysical potential, but yet in an earthy, practical way, because they're in Taurus. So it's a deep promise for the next several months. Don't waste that. Don't waste it on money, because you'll often hear, oh, it's good for money. And I said it too. It is. It is a good time for prosperity. But that's just the outer form. Because what prosperity does, the reason prosperity is considered a boon, is because without money, without prosperity, you can't relax. Without health, without wealth, you can't relax. You'll just be worried about, sustenance and material comfort. So once we have material comfort, which most of us in the West do, whether we think so or not, then what we do with that is very important. Rather than distract ourselves from our confused mind and the confusion of life, we shouldn't waste our time. One thing that the great spiritual teachers and gurus always say is, you have much less time than you think. We all think we're going to live forever. We all have this illusion that it's going to go on forever. We don't. It won't. One day we won't have any more time. So not wasting time is a big part of this as well. And it's also very much affirmed by that Saturn in Libra, That's why we're feeling the pressure of time right now. Saturn, Rahu in Libra. So ponder these things and give me some comments. Let me know how this sounds to you and how things have been for you lately in this eclipse cycle.